Anyone who welcomes you welcomes me, and anyone who welcomes me welcomes the one who sent me. Whoever welcomes a prophet as a prophet will receive a prophet's reward. And whoever welcomes a righteous person as a righteous person will receive a righteous person's reward. And if anyone gives a cup of cold water to one of these little ones, who is my disciple, truly I tell you, that person will certainly not lose a reward. The word of God for the people of God. Thanks be to God. Young father and his son Jared were playing catch in the backyard of their home one day. And little Jared posed a question upon his father that literally startled him. He says, "Dad, is there a God?" And Joe stood there for a moment, kind of wondering and fumbling, and the answers running through his head as to how to respond to this. And he said, "Son," he says, "I don't know. I don't know." He says, and Jared digs a little bit deeper, says, "But Dad," he said, if there is a God," he says, "how do we know? How do we know it's Him?" And Joe's searching for the words. He said, "Son," he said, I didn't grow up going to church." He said, "You're asking the wrong person. I don't know the answer to this." And they continued their game of throwing and catching, and all of a sudden, little Jared runs into the house, and he says, "I'll be back in just a minute, Dad." And he comes back out, and he had a balloon, an index card, and a pen. He said, "Son, what are you doing?" He said, "Well, I'm going to send God a message, airmail." And Joe, not wanting to extinguish his son's exuberance, he helps him, and he says, "Dear Lord, if you are real, would you send them to show my Father and me that you are?" And they taped it to the balloon, and they let it go, and they stood there and watched it fly away. And a few days pass, and they're riding around downtown, and they notice there's a sign up that says car wash. So Joe pulls in and rolls down his window and says, "How much is it?" And the gentleman says, "It's nothing, it's free. It's a free car wash." He says, "Really? Well, what's this for?" He says, "Well, this is part of our church's community outreach, that we will reach out and do something nice and for the community and the people in it." And Joe's just like, he said, "Are you a Christian?" He says, "Yes, we're Christians." He says, "Do you believe in God?" The guy says, "Yes, we believe in God." And he looks over at his son and realizes that the prayer that he had sent had been answered. And he began to tell the man the story of what his son had asked and how they had gotten to this point. That's a true story. You see, sometimes we can reach people without even trying to reach them. God can create a way. In the 10th chapter, Jesus speaks of sharing a cup of cold water. Something simple. Something as simple as cold water. Christianity is about our relationship with God. And it's personal. It's a one-on-one relationship, but it's not meant to remain private. It's to be shared. And there's 3 simple ways that I want to talk about this morning about sharing our faith. And the first thing is about doing small things to show God's work in your life to others. A lady sent out an email to prospective candidates for a job and asked this question: "What would you do? Who would you choose?" And she set up the scenario and said, you're driving down the road at night, a terrible storm is upon you, and you come up to a bus stop and you see 3 people there. An elderly woman who is gravely ill, an old friend that once saved your life, and a beautiful woman or man that would be the dream person in your life. Your car only has room for one. What would you do? Over 200 applicants replied to this question. Only one got it right. And he said, I would pull up, I would give my best friend the keys to my car and ask him to take the elderly woman to the hospital to get her attended to. He said, I would sit there and wait on the bus with the woman of my dreams. Simple things in life that we can do to show God's love at work in our lives. John Bowles, who was the chairman of Whammo, do you remember Whammo? They made toys, and you probably bought toys for your children. And I probably bought toys for my children made by Whammo. John Bowles was the CEO of the company at the time, and they were famous for making Frisbees. And he worked one time with a charitable organization to send thousands of Frisbees over to an orphanage in Africa. And a few months later, one of the representatives of the company went to visit this orphanage to see how things were going. And one of the nuns said, "We love the plates that your company sent." Said the children eat off of them, they can carry water, they can even fish with them. And the guy started to explain, he says, "Well, they're actually a toy, they're made to toss back and forth." They said, "Oh, that'll just be wonderful. They got a toy also out of this." You see, sometimes we don't realize the impact that we make with the little things. We need to understand that the simple acts done with great love can change the world. Baron de Rothschild was at one time was one of the richest people in the world. And there's a story that he was sitting for an artist in their studio, and this rich man was dressed as a poor beggar, even tin cup included. And one of the artist's friends walked in and saw what was going on, and he thought that he was actually a true beggar. He didn't realize that it's Baron von Rothschild. He dropped a coin in the tin cup. Several years went by, and Rothschild sent a bank order worth over 10,000 francs back to this person years later with a note, and it said, "Many years ago you entrusted me with a little bit, and I have invested in that, and now I want you to receive the rewards and the dividends." See, simple acts done changes the world. And I think God knew that when he came into the world, he knew that we would not get it, that we would not understand what his great love for us looks like or could be. He came and gave himself on a cross, an instrument of death, but yet that one event changed the world. You remember the story of the Good Samaritan in the Bible? You know, the gentleman's asking, what does neighbors look like? What does it mean to love your neighbor? And in today's time, it might change just a little bit. Instead of the Samaritans, it might be the Palestinians, the good Palestinian. You remember a man is robbed, beaten, left for dead. Two Jewish people, one a priest and a Levite, go past him, even go out of their way on the other side of the road. But the Philistinian takes care of the man, bandages him up, puts him in a motel, pays his bill because his insurance won't cover it. And Jesus says, of these three men, who do you think loves their neighbor? Finally, we need to realize that our power of service is not based on who we are, but who Jesus is in us. Sometimes I feel guilty that I don't do enough for the community or my neighbors at work or my neighbors at home or neighbors abroad. Certainly I've, through the years, tried to give back in service by serving on mission teams. But there's times that I feel guilty. It doesn't have to be something big and extravagant. It can be something very simple, something very small. I think Paul understood that as he was writing some of his letters while being imprisoned. And it always brings to mind this great verse, Philippians 4:13. Paul says, I have power. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. It's a great motto for us to live by. This salvation in life that we live is not on something that we've done, but what God has done for us. A young Sunday school teacher was teaching one morning and asked the children, she said, if I sold my home, cleaned out my bank account, had a large garage sale, gave everything to the church, Would I go to heaven? And all the children resoundingly said, no, no, you won't go to heaven. She said, what if I come in and clean the church every day and mow the yard, trim the bushes, wash the windows, do all, will I go to heaven? And they said, no, 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 no. And finally, a little 5-year-old voice in the back said, you can't go to heaven till you're dead. We get into heaven not by what we do, but what God has done for us. It's the power of the life that we live in the love of Christ that should flow out to others and touch their hearts as well. So I'm reminded of the Nike commercial, just do it. Just do it. Whatever it may be, even if it is just something as simple as a cup of cold water. Do something in the name of Christ. Touch someone. So pray for me this morning. And I'll pray for you that we're able to fulfill the great commission of Jesus Christ. Let's pray. Father, again, we thank you for this day and this time as we've joined together. Father, may we be the disciples that you've called us to be. To reach those that are lost and lonely in whatever means and ways we have available to us. Sometimes it's big, but most of the times it's small. Sometimes it's the gift of just the presence with someone. Father, I pray for you, as young Jared did, that you send people our way, that we may show them that we love you, and that we wish to love others as you have loved us, to bring you glory. We ask all of this morning in your name. Amen.